Hi, Rod Henry here. Wanted to talk to you just for a moment about the COVID-19 business and all of that. Next week, we're going to continue our prayer meetings, and our prayer meetings are very important because God is moving in those prayer meetings, and we need to trust the Lord to be the Lord as we should trust Him because He is, and He will begin to heal and protect us, and He'll begin to help those. I've got many who have this problem with the COVID-19 virus inside of them, and they're going through this. And so we need to pray for them and all of that. I just wanted to share with you a story that so often gets talked about, but very, very few people read the details. And the details are found in 1 Samuel 17. Remember that David was anointed king over Israel when Saul was still king. And so David came to serve Saul, and he did so, and he brought food to his brothers who were in Saul's army, and there was a standoff with the Philistines. The Philistines had brought a man up, and this man was huge. He was gigantic. His name was Goliath. I mean, it describes the 125 pounds the bronze coat weighed. He wore. This guy's gigantic. And David is not a huge man, but he decides that this man's talking about God's army. Somebody do something. And of course, the men of Israel hadn't done anything because they were fighting for Saul. So David goes down and, he says, to Saul, listen, I mean, this guy is saying these things about God's army. And so you go along down to verse 12, and it says, don't worry about this Philistine, David told Saul. I'll go fight him. Don't be ridiculous, Saul replied. There's no way that you can fight the Philistine and possibly win. You're only a boy, and he's a man. He's been a fighter from his youth. But David persisted. And here's what David said. Listen carefully. He said, I've been taking care of my father's sheep and goats. And when lions or bears came to steal a lamb from the flock, I go after both of those with a club to rescue the lamb from its mouth. Now, I don't see fear in David. Fear's not there. He says, when a lion or a bear comes and steals a lamb, I take my club and I go after it and I get it. Now, this is what I want to talk about because we're going to be focusing on this coming week. As we get ready for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Friday. We don't come on Thursday simply because we're taping on Thursday, our television program. But I want to tell you that we need, as believers in Jesus Christ, as Christians, to understand that we can't operate in fear. We've got to operate in faith. Now, that does not mean that we avoid the physical distancing and all that. We don't do that. We don't avoid it. But let me tell you something. Everybody's talking about protecting themselves. Everybody's about themselves. But what if God brought somebody on the road and they had great need, and I was in my car and I was driving, would I stop? Would I help them? I mean, they might have COVID-19. I mean, don't stop it. You know what? I would stop. I would have to stop. Because if somebody is in trouble on the side of the road, I've got to try to help them. And I would trust the Lord, whatever happens. And this kind of courage to go after David, seeking the bear, seeking the lion, not so that he can get damaged, but so that he can protect the lamb. Protecting the lamb. We're going to be talking about protecting the lambs. We're going to be talking about how God does that inside of each of us this coming week. Join me, and we'll talk more about this in 1 Samuel 17 and all of that the coming week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Friday. And I'll see you there. So we'll be looking for you to join us.